Good evening. Here with the Urban Debate, I am Kavita Krishnan. The doctor is not in today in West Bengal and in many cities across the nation. And they have good reason to not report to duty. One of their own, a junior doctor, was attacked at the state-run NRS hospital in Kolkata. It's 4 days today since the doctors in Kolkata refused to return to work. The demand that was simple, it has been the same throughout, a safer workplace. But that demand has as yet gone unanswered. The standoff, meanwhile, has intensified. We are now looking at a scenario where doctors across India protested today. The IMA, the Indian Medical Association, has called for a nationwide strike on Monday. The healthcare system is clearly facing an emergency. As we still await some word from the West Bengal Chief Minister, we ask our panel, has Mamata Banerjee completely mismanaged the entire crisis? Is it so difficult to give security to the doctors in your state? Take a look at this report.
On the debate tonight, doctors versus West Bengal Chief Minister standoff enters day 4.
The mass resignations are increasing across West Bengal medical colleges and hospitals, where not just junior doctors but also principals and superintendents have been putting in their papers.
As many as 550 doctors have resigned. Hospitals across the state stayed shut on Friday. Earlier, Mamata Banerjee gave the doctors' protest and demand for safety a political colour. She alleged that the BJP was fanning these protests and threatened doctors they would face the boot if they did not end the strike. A threat that only served to further incense protesting doctors. Doctors from across India also united in solidarity against repeated attacks against doctors and hospitals. Doctors in many cities across India went on strike. Many others worked sporting black armbands in protest.
For me, this is an extreme step, which I would not like to take. Second, doctors are not meant to be on streets.
The centre too jumped into the issue. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan said they will ensure safety for doctors.
मैंने डॉक्टरों को आश्वासन दिया है कि उनके लिए अस्पतालों में सेफ एनवायरनमेंट, सुरक्षित वातावरण देने के लिए और निरंतरता के साथ वो वहाँ पर बना रहे, इसके लिए सरकारी स्तर पर जो भी कुछ प्रयास हो सकते हैं और उसमें अगर कोई कानूनी प्रयासों की भी आवश्यकता है तो उनको भी सुदृढ़ करने की कोशिश भारत सरकार करेगी.
Despite assurances from the centre and threats from the state government, the doctors clearly unwilling to end their strike until they see action on ground. While the stalemate continues in West Bengal, it's the patients who are facing the brunt.
तो इनको दाखिल किया इमरजेंसी में, ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा था. वो अचानक खबर आई कि स्ट्राइक हो गई, सारे जान में से भागो. तो हम सबको यहाँ वहाँ से निकाल दिया और भगा दिया.
अब हम सोच रहे हैं हम वापस जाएं, क्या करें, प्राइवेट में लेके जाएं. इनकी हालत बहुत सीरियस है.
डॉक्टर देखना मना कर दिया, बोले स्ट्राइक है आज. उन्होंने लिख दिया FNSC के लिए, वहाँ मना कर दिया, बोले स्ट्राइक है आज. हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं आज.
Mirror now asks, has Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee mismanaged the doctors' demands for safety? Why is the Chief Minister not providing safety to our doctors? Let's debate.
News just coming in. There's the latest update on the Bengal doctor strike. The governor of West Bengal, Srinath Tripathi, met with the injured doctor. Now, this is being seen as a clear attempt to break the ongoing stalemate, which has paralyzed the entire healthcare system in West Bengal. And that is important news that we are bringing you right now. On top of the debate, the governor, holding the second round of talks, seemingly meets the injured doctor, and the governor also says no response as of now from the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. I'm joined by my colleague Shreyoshi with more on that meeting. Can you tell us, Shreyoshi, take us through what happened at the meeting? Did he only meet with the injured doctor? Did he meet with the striking doctors? What did the governor tell these doctors?
Well, Governor of West Bengal today went to the neurosciences hospital here in Kolkata to meet injured Dr. Poribaho Mukherjee. He's been admitted there, and of course, he's the one who was attacked in that NRS violence that unfolded on Monday. Governor went and met him, met his family who was accompanying the doctor inside the ward. He said that he will decide later whether he wants to go meet the NRS doctors who are protesting inside the hospital premises. But so far, he has confirmed that he has, in fact, tried reaching out to Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee himself, but he has not got any response from her as yet. Because when we asked him how does the governor look into this entire issue and what is the solution to end this deadlock, considering the kind of mass resignation that West Bengal doctors have given in today, he said that he has reached out to the Chief Minister. Now we'll have to wait and see if Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee meets the governor to really come up with a solution, because tomorrow this is going to be the 5th day of protests here across West Bengal, which has also triggered a widespread protest across the nation.
Right, Shreyoshi, the governor meeting the injured doctor is not the only attempt that is being made here to break the stalemate. We did see the court step in. We did see the Union Health Minister, in fact, step in. Can you tell us what happened in both those cases?
Well, Dr. Harshvardhan, the Union Minister, has written to Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee in the capacity of the Health Minister, saying that this should not be a prestige issue. She should try and resolve this, because today what happened was there were not only protests in Kolkata and West Bengal, but also in different parts of the country. And this is hampering the health infrastructure of not only West Bengal, but also going to affect across the country. But we'll have to see how Chief Minister reacts to that, because since the letter and the governors reach out, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is yet to speak to the media or make her stand clear as to what next will be done. In the meantime, here's hoping the state government is looking into the fresh demands that the NRS doctors have made today, 6 points that they've put out in a note for Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, which includes her visiting the college and hospital where they are protesting, that is the NRS Medical College and Hospital, and also the withdrawal of her statements made yesterday while she was visiting SSKM Hospital in Kolkata. We'll have to wait and see how Chief Minister now, what next she would be doing.
Right, and final question to you, Shreyoshi. There was a PIL in court that was heard today. Did the state respond to the court?
Well, the urgent PIL, which was heard by the Chief Justice today at the Calcutta High Court, 2 main questions were asked to the state government. One, what is the state government doing to end this deadlock, this ongoing strike of the doctors? And 2, what steps have the state taken against the accused person involved in the entire violence that unfolded in NRS hospital that triggered these protests by the doctors? And they have been given 7 days time. West Bengal government has been given 7 days time to respond to those questions and submit a report to the Chief Justice. So they have time till Friday to respond to that order of the Calcutta High Court.
Right, Shreyoshi, thank you very much for getting us all of those details. That is very important news coming in. The governor, Keshrinath Tripathi, went and met the injured doctor this evening. But he's also come out and said that there has been no response from the Chief Minister so far. He's been trying to get in touch with her. Listen into what he had to say.
I have tried to contact the Chief Minister. I have called her, and till this moment there is no response from her. Okay. And if she calls on me, then we'll discuss the matter.
Will you be visiting NRS also where the doctors are protesting?
Let me see how am I advised.
Thank you.
Any call from CM office, sir? Any call from CM office?
You
have called the Honorable Chief Minister for a discussion.
Yes, I have called her. Let her come.
Well, and that's where we stand right now. Let's go across to our panel. Suranjan Das Gupta, Senior Advocate, Kolkata High Court, who is a TMC supporter. Dr. Rajan Sharma, National President-elect of the Indian Medical Association. Dr. Binayak Chanda, Senior Consultant, Cardiac Surgery. Dr. Sanjay Nagral, Surgeon and Chairperson, Forum for Medical Ethics. And King Shuk Nag, who is a senior journalist who's been closely tracking all this action. Thank you very much for joining us. I will begin here by speaking to Dr. Binayak Chanda. Dr. Chanda, you just heard what our colleague Shreyoshi had to say. There has been no response from the state or from the Chief Minister to the governor, to the court and to the Union Health Minister. The governor going so far as to say that he has been calling her and the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has not responded. Do you find this silence disconcerting? Does it worry you?
Certainly, I think it's a matter of grave concern that the Chief Minister, who is the head of the state, with the constitutional head being the governor, if the governor calls and she doesn't respond, I mean, there's nothing for me to say there, but it only shows that there has been a complete breakdown of communications, and the situation we are in now is gravely concerning, because the juniors, and we have visited the juniors in NRS today, the juniors all across the medical colleges in Bengal have been very defiant and all they want is a very simple thing. They want the Chief Minister to come, they want the Chief Minister to reassure, and they want the Chief Minister to say that she's going to look into this and the people are going to be, the culprits are going to be punished. And they also want a security so that this kind of incidents doesn't happen again and again and again. Over the last 2 years, as we keep on repeating, there's been more than 250 incidents of violence affecting both the private and the government healthcare. And what is very encouraging for, I think this is almost like an Arab Spring, if I may say so, is that the entire fraternity of government doctors, the lawyers, the civil society, everybody has just poured in their support for the junior doctors.
It's interesting, Dr. Binayak Chanda, how you called it an Arab Spring, almost like an Arab Spring, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But let me bring in Dr. Rajan Sharma over here. Dr. Sharma, the IMA has in fact decided that all the doctors will possibly go on strike on Monday across the country if the stalemate is not resolved. The fact that the Chief Minister of the state, who also happens to be the Health Minister of the state, here doesn't seem to be responding. Do you think the situation is going from bad to worse?
Actually, the situation is quite grim and we are concerned about it. But we are very clear in our stand that we stand with our generation, younger generation and resident doctors of Calcutta and West Bengal. And also we demand a central act for against violence against doctors, which to be implemented as soon as possible, as the demand has been pending for quite a long time. This should address safety of the doctors, should be and is a priority of all the governments, and also as a common citizen we are entitled to our security.
Right. In fact, Dr. Nagral, I have a bit of a difficult question for you, and one that I know you will be able to answer. Essentially, doctors take the Hippocratic Oath. Now, when doctors turn away patients, like what we've been seeing today across the country, because they believe there is a personal threat to them, and because they are protesting against something that has happened in Kolkata in a particular hospital. Are doctors doing the right thing? Are they justified in doing what they've been doing today and in that strike that they intend to call on Monday?
Yeah, you're right. It's a difficult question. But, I first of all would like to start by saying that I myself, as a young doctor many years back, have led strikes. And therefore, it would be quite, disingenuous on my part now to talk about the fact that strikes do affect patients. And yes, it is true that a lot of strike actions take place in public hospitals, and therefore it affects the poor. But I guess in this situation, perhaps they have been pushed against the wall. But I also want to say that you will see a lot of outrage from amongst medical professionals, and there is every reason for there to be outrage. But on the other hand, what typically happens, and this is a very predictable course every time, we have been there before, is that the young doctors protest, public hospitals close down for a few days. The medical profession says we are backing them. But really speaking, the rest of the profession never stops work. The private sector in this country doesn't stop work. And therefore, what actually happens is that the poor suffer. So it's not even, it's not anybody's case that there cannot be strike actions by doctors. But if you actually look at it, it ends up worsening the plight of the poor every time. Also, violence against doctors is not new, and therefore some of the demands that come up typically from, I just heard my colleague saying that we want a central act. Now, there are 19 states in India have already passed acts, and many of these acts have been in place for a very long time. But we have really not seen any major reduction in violent acts. And therefore, there is something else happening. And in my view, and I've written about it, I've appeared on your show before, that this whole response of increasing security, putting more security guards, and all sorts of ludicrous ideas come up, and including from my own colleagues. I see WhatsApp messages in the last 2 days that we should have bouncers in hospitals and stuff like that, is really missing the point. I think what really one needs to look at is, where is this anger coming from? In this particular incident, I guess there is a definite, partly this is the hangover of the election, partly poor handling by the state government. But otherwise, where is this anger coming from? And it's not just, these are everyday incidents now. And I think the medical profession also needs to look at what is happening. What are the factors beyond just saying that we need more security?
Right. In fact, let me also bring in Kingshuk Nag. Kingshuk Nag, a lot of things that we're hearing right now. Amongst that, the fact that there is no response, the fact that this no response is disconcerting, poor management by the state government. How do you, as a senior journalist, as someone who's seen a lot of these things happen, especially in West Bengal before, how do you, describe it? Do you think that Mamata Banerjee has completely mismanaged this particular crisis?
Yes, Mamata Banerjee has absolutely lost it. Everybody knows that violence in the medical sector in Calcutta is very old, and few incidents used to happen every year. However, every time the state government used to pacify the doctors and things became normal. But in this case, we find a chief minister who has lost her mind probably after losing the election or winning the election hardly, is behaving in a most funny manner, and she's aggravating the whole thing. So therefore, I think the government is taking action. Let me first add that I am not a BJP supporter. First, let me add that as a caveat. But when I find that the chief minister of the state is behaving in such a way, unable and unwilling to take any action when something wrong is happening, is incensing the people everywhere, is incensing doctors across the nation, and that is the problem. And she does not seem to understand that whatever has happened in elections has nothing to do with the medical profession. And now, therefore, this matter is become exacerbated now, and now it will take a real stern action from the central government to stop this incident, because doctors everywhere are very upset, across the country are very upset, And you can't justify beating up of doctors. But as I said earlier, this business of beating up doctors is common in West Bengal, but it was always being settled because the Chief Minister of the day used to go to the doctors and beg an apology and manage. But this time it has not happened, so the doctors are very, very angry.
Right.
So the blame is at the door of Mamata Banerjee, let me tell you.
The blame is at the door of Mamata Banerjee. Suranjan Dasgupta, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, what has happened is very, very unfortunate. It is unbecoming of the state of West Bengal to indulge in such mob violence and this drastic hatred. This is a sense of hatred and anger overwhelming this state of West Bengal, which was known for its communal harmony and also for its linguistic harmony. Like previously, I was talking about that Bengali and non-Bengali. As I said that you have to speak in Bengali, I always reiterated the fact there's no harm in learning the regional language. As I said, that there are thousands of non-Bengalis I know in Calcutta and in the state of West Bengal who speak better Bengali than many Bengalis. This is one thing I want to tell you. Number two is this violence. If I was going through the press conference of Mamata Banerjee, which was shown on the ABP Anando, the excerpts I say, she said about the SSKM thing, she wanted to say that please, if you don't get to work, I will definitely see that you are thrown out of the hostel, you will not get any pay, you will be losing your jobs, everything. But if you see the entire interview, I was looking at it, she said maybe they have done it out of emotion, out of when they're, after all, they're youngsters, they're just like little children, they can do that. I don't mind for that. I have forgotten that also. So what I want to say is that the entire totality of the interview has to be taken into question, other than taking excerpts from here, and highlighting it. It will, because what I say, it will only ignite the flame. We are trying to douse the fire, and better sense has prevailed. Just only, I got the information, there was a long meeting at Novanno, and things should come to a peaceful settlement within a week. I think so. Within a week, definitely it should come, because the senior doctors, along with the junior doctors,
Suranjan Dasgupta, the hospitals have not. Suranjan Dasgupta, the hospitals have not been functioning for 4 days now. We are at a situation where the IMA, the Indian Medical Association, is saying all doctors across India will go on strike on Monday. Doctors in many cities went on strike today.
Yes.
And you are asking us to wait for a week?
Yes.
Do you know what will happen if we wait for a week?
No. What I'm saying, I said within a week.
No, let me tell you what within a week means. What? By Sunday?
Also, or within 7 days.
Exactly my question. You
yes,
cannot,
why not?
Let me tell you why you can't afford to lose a single minute. No. Suranjan Dasgupta, let me tell you why you can't afford to lose a single minute.
That's the reason I said.
A 3-day-old baby boy has died in the Sagar Dutt Medical College due to lack of medical attention.
To resolve this impasse, they had a marathon meeting in Novanno to resolve this impasse, and if things work out,
you are asking us,
may be called off by the IMA. Who knows?
You are asking us to wait for a week. Within a week. What does within a week mean?
Within
a 3-day-old child has already died because the baby did not get medical attention. 3-day-old. How many more people do we want to lose?
It's such a burning issue. It's such a burning issue. It just it cannot be easily calmed down within just 1 second or 2 seconds or 30 seconds.
Do you want to say
or
this?
30 hours. Maybe it will take some time.
Suranjan Dasgupta, would the government rather say this?
Step to resolve this impasse.
I'm sorry, Suranjan Dasgupta, would the government rather say this to the doctor whose skull was fractured, to the doctor who was beaten up? Would a government representative want to say this to the parents of that doctor who sent him to Kolkata to study? That I'm sorry, it will take at least a week because it's a burning issue.
To err is human, to forgive divine.
Dr.
Yes,
Binayak
to earn is
Chanda's,
human, I said.
Dr. Binayak
And to
Chanda
forgive
here is a
divine.
brilliant student, a doctor.
Leave aside the
I'm
sentiments
sorry,
and
one
emotions.
second. Let
So
me
is
bring
human.
in Dr. Binayak Chanda. Dr. Binayak Chanda, here is a doctor who is at the start of his career. He's a student. He is studying. He is beaten up by goons. His skull is fractured. Is it a small issue?
No, it's certainly not a small issue. I think we have to step back and just talk about a few other things that the other panelist has been saying. Uh, let's be very clear. Dr. Sanjay Nagral had actually pointed out as to there has been always a public sector and a private sector divide, and wanted to mention a few of the reasons as to why it happens. One of the biggest reasons I personally think, and why there is a huge divide between the private and the public sector, is because
Dr. Chanda, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I have to interrupt you here. Dr. Chanda, I'm afraid I have to interrupt you here. Let's stay on point. Please respond to what Suranjan Dasgupta just said.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Fine. We'll forget the other points. And let's. What Mr. Suranjan Dasgupta has said, he's a very learned colleague of ours. But it actually makes no sense. I mean, this is a young guy who's just about to start his future. He's dedicated already 6 years of his life in the pursuit of medicine, and all he does is attend a patient, and after that he gets beaten up, and then he's fighting for his life. And forget life, there will be, even if he's alive, we don't know the extent of his cognitive deficiency or intellectual impairment that might happen or psychological impairment that might happen as a result of this violent crime. Now, the thing is, what I have to put into the panelists again, I have to remind them that there are a few things that had happened since then. The junior doctors all across the medical colleges, all across the city, sat down. There was an impromptu strike. Yes, initially they were a bit violent and they had to retaliate, but I think that is a very natural reaction. But at the same time, what has happened is that they wanted the police to take action, which has not happened. They wanted the chief minister to reassure them that these things will never happen. This hasn't happened. They wanted protection for their life. And what's wrong with that? And we keep on bringing this thing about Hippocratic Oath and all, which is fine. Everybody gets to know about Hippocratic Oath more than we get to know. But I'm telling you, but what gives anybody a right to actually hit someone? Do we go to the court and hit try doing that with the lawyers? Try doing that with any other profession. Why are we going to be the soft target? Why are we going to be saying that, oh, our life is, our life is not precious. Our future doesn't matter. It is, we are happy to give a service to everyone. And we all of us, we work endlessly for this. But I just cannot accept that violence will be accepted as a trade-off in our profession.
Violence cannot be a trade-off in any profession. Violence should never ever be a trade-off anywhere. In fact, Suranjan Dasgupta, we have people writing in on the show and asking us questions. People want to know, why is Mamata Banerjee so reluctant to meet with the striking doctors?
Yes, you're absolutely correct, ma'am. There was a lack of coordination and a miscommunication. This, what she has tried to clarify over the press statement and all, that she from the very beginning, she had sent the state health minister to the NRS hospital along with the commissioner of police to negotiate with the doctors, and the health minister was told to tell the junior doctors to talk to her, which they refused. Her thing is that why they did not talk with her. The matter would have ended. She would have definitely taken steps. But they didn't. But they started shouting, hurled abuses. This is what I came to know from the press statement of Mamata Banerjee. So to keep things in order, she again sent the medical team, and the medical team was also heckled including the medical director and the other one from the Indian Medical Association, Bengal president, they were all heckled. So they came back. And she has given a positive mental attitude by reacting. I have given orders to the police to arrest those culprits who was indulged in
What
violence.
you're telling us, Suranjan Dasgupta, what you're telling us is that Mamata Banerjee did reach out.
They did not get bail today also.
It's wrong.
You are saying that Mamata Banerjee reached out to the doctors.
Yes,
Vinayak
yes.
Chanda, do you want to comment on that?
I think if she did, I mean, this interview would certainly have not taken place. Clearly she hasn't, and I don't know where Mr. Dasgupta gets all his information from, but 10,000 doctors took part in a rally today. There are thousands and thousands of junior doctors all across the state now sitting in an endless strike, complete cessation walk. There are senior professors in the government hospital, and I think in the last count we have had news of more than 500 senior doctors in the government hospitals. They have resigned. Now, why? Why did do you think this is after Mamata Banerjee and the Chief Minister reassurance that people are so mad to do this? I don't think so. Clearly, the demand is very simple from the junior doctors that the Honorable Chief Minister must go and sit with the doctors and negotiate a way out. We want this. We are very worried about the emergency services. We don't want any patient to suffer. We certainly, I work in the private sector. I certainly don't want to capitalize out of this. I want the poor patient to have access to the emergency services in the government setup. But I must say, I believe that the junior doctors' protest is very, very legitimate.
Right. Let me bring in Dr. Nagral over here. Dr. Nagral, it comes back to what you mentioned right at the beginning, the fact that at the end of it, no one is a winner, and the one who loses the most is the poor patient who has no other place to go but the government hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, whilst we are all outraged and, we have been there before, as I said, but the time has come to look at by these repeated, number one, by demanding more and more laws, just looking at it as a security issue. Number two, the morale of the public health system in this country is already low. And therefore, I think whilst the state has to play an important role, I think the medical community needs to think beyond just strike actions and beyond asking for security. I think there's a lot of good people in the profession who can put in thought on this. I myself work in a public hospital in Mumbai, part of my work, and I think the way some of our emergency wards are, they almost look like conflict zones, and I think we need to look at how they are structured. Questions of triage, because if you actually study violence in healthcare institutions in India, a lot of it takes place in emergency situations, in casualties and emergency wards. And I think there can be a lot done, small little tweaks of how we structure those wards, how the presence of relatives in the wards, how the resuscitation measures are taken and who is witnessing the resuscitating measures. So I think whilst we outrage, we need to seriously start looking at analyze all the issues of violence and look at what we can correct simultaneously. Because otherwise, as you rightly said, the losers are the large majority of people for whom things are just going to get worse. Right. And the security solution, I'm again coming back to it again and again, has not worked. And in the context of the health sector, to talk about police everywhere guarding doctors, etc., to me just sounds very strange.
Yeah, but the thing that here you have doctors who are on the streets, and they should not be on the streets, like one of our panelists has told us. They should be treating people instead. Now, these doctors are have a set of demands. The fact that you have a government that has not responded to them. You've been part of many strikes, like you just said. There was one in Maharashtra as well recently, about 2 years back, when doctors went on strike. Did the government take so long to respond in any case?
Yeah, so I think there is so governments typically respond, at least they show that they respond, let me put it that way. So obviously West Bengal right now seems to be a peculiar situation. I think it's something to do with post-election, West Bengal politics. So usually, typically in this situation, everybody at least comes out with some response. And the typical response is increased security. But simultaneously, I think the state must look at the crumbling structure of public hospitals. People have genuine grievances. That some of them should not express it in this manner is absolutely given. But the fact of the matter is that people have grievances. The way patients are often brought to hospitals. Why do people come with patients in India? If you actually look at it, very often a large number of people come because ambulance services are poor. You'd be interested to know that sometimes I was asked a question, why are relatives inside hospitals? The reality actually is relatives are inside public hospitals in India because very often they are pushing the stretchers. They are helping the patients. They are ferrying the patient from one department to another. So whilst we all are against this kind of lumpen violence, but we need to go beyond that discourse of just blaming the lumpenization and look seriously at and do a good analysis at where do these violent incidents come from. And just one quick point. Whilst currently we must talk about Mamata Banerjee and West Bengal, but let me just tell you that we have seen all political parties in India and political leaders often inciting violence. And I must remind your audience that one very big incident in this city that we are sitting, a hospital was set on fire by a group with an allegiance to a particular party. So no party is above this, inciting their followers, making use of a charged situation to score a brownie point.
Right. In fact, I want to bring up something else, but we do have a lot of people viewers who've called in. Rahul Shukla on the phone line from Coimbatore. Rahul?
Ma'am, I just want to ask one thing. If there are situations in the government hospitals are not very good, they don't have... Ma'am, Krishan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Go on.
If the situation is not good, the conditions are not good, why should you blame the doctor and go and kill him? Let the government of the state, like Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal, let her, instead of giving warning that 4 hours ultimatum, please call off the strike, otherwise face stringent actions. Is that the right way to address the situation? I'm really sorry about it.
That's precisely what we're asking our panelists. Thank you. Saurav on the phone line from Kolkata. Saurav?
Yeah, good evening to all of you. Can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. I just want to tell you that the CM of Bengal, Mrs. Mamata Banerjee, she has completely failed in tackling the situation, and she is completely responsible for creating this situation. This is a simple thing. She could have easily gone to the doctors and have met them, and she could have reassured them about their safety. Instead, it's her ego that has prevented her from going to meet those doctors, and she is threatening them. Now, this is what to say more than this. These doctors are there. They just demand a congenial atmosphere for working. It's nothing wrong. And the Constitution of India also talks about the right to life. It's nothing wrong. It's the duty of the government to protect the right of an individual. Then she has completely failed. She should immediately resign as a health minister.
Right. Saurabh from Kolkata, I believe she's completely failed, should resign as health minister. Praveen from Bengaluru. Praveen?
Yes. Actually, so these kind of incidents have happened even before. I think doctors get hurt at the same time. Even the patients have met the untoward situations but due to the medical negligencies. So there are untoward situations from both the end. So what I would say that as a mature people, one should understand at what circumstances we have to go on strike. So is this the way to do the strike, keeping the patients at risk? Or is there any way that we can address these situations by giving the grievances to the MPs, MLAs, and at least approach to the court? I think we have a number of ways to approach the court. So my request is that doctors must understand the situation, and it's a very, very grave situation. They have to call off the strike. At the same time, the government also should enable them to work in a fair and free manner as well. As a citizen of India, I think I request both should come together, both should meet and have to call off the strike, at least for the patient's sake.
At least for the patient's sake, right?
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely. Let's go across back to our panel. Kingshuk Nag, couple of things. One is the language that was used. Whether, though like Suranjan Das Gupta did tell us that it was not meant in that manner, but it did seem like the CM was threatening those striking doctors. The other thing, the words that were used, the reference to the outsider who was instigating the doctors, the references that this was a CPM BJP conspiracy, also the fact, and one that is to me the most disturbing of the lot, the fact that those policemen who were standing by and watching when the doctor got beaten up, no action yet against those policemen. Now all of that put together, do you think that as a whole, it sort of shows that the government is not really worried, the government is not really taking this entire issue very seriously?
I think Mamata Banerjee is doing politics. She now wants to make the Bengal politics Bengali versus outsiders. And therefore, she is talking of things that if you stay in Bengal, you have to speak in Bengali. Now, a person like me, I'm a Bengali, but I've never stayed in Bengal in my life. I've stayed in so many other states. I stay now in Telangana, but nowhere has anybody insisted that I speak in the local language. So how can you insist on a non-Bengali to say you have to speak in Bengali? If somebody speaks, fine, but what is this sort of threat? Mamata Banerjee, instead of trying to bring down the position, is always trying to rake it up by saying you have to speak in Bengali. Then she's basically, after losing the election, not losing the election, just winning the election, she's made it a Bengali versus non-Bengali fight. And I think she thinks she'll get a lot of votes, which she might also, but it is not good for the state, let me tell you. And as I said before, and again I want to say that I am not a supporter of BJP. And when I say this, it's a very independent viewpoint. So I think Mamata Banerjee better mend her ways. Otherwise, the time will soon come when everybody will throw rotten eggs at her and she will be forced to leave her seat.
Right.
And I think right now, I don't have any sympathy for her.
Right, let me bring in Suranjan Das Gupta here. Let me bring in Suranjan Das Gupta here. Suranjan Das Gupta, you said that the state government is trying to douse the fire. But the messaging that is coming out of the state government doesn't look like that. The message that is coming out seems completely the opposite. What do you have to say to that? What has the government really done to douse the fire?
No. There will be a meeting with the doctors and the administrators and the bureaucrats, and including the chief minister very soon. The governor has intervened. The governor has also asked Mamata Banerjee to meet him, and she's definitely, the governor is hopeful that the CM will call on him and better sense will prevail. What I wanted to say is, whether you're a Bengali or non-Bengali doesn't matter. It's the value education which is totally missing now in Bengal. As I do agree with the caller from Bangalore, if I'm not wrong, he said that whether the patient party or the doctor, let's bury the thing. We should all come together, and the value education should be there. No, don't blame each other.
Suranjan Das Gupta, if value education is missing, whose responsibility is that? If value education is missing, whose responsibility is that? Are you blaming the parents here? Are you blaming the teachers? Are you blaming the education system?
Yes. Everything after the disintegration of joint family in India also, the value education has gone down. Why
I'm sorry, Suranjan Das Gupta, we have a situation here where the state government is not willing to... No, I'm sorry, Suranjan Das Gupta, we have a situation where the state government is not willing to take responsibility, is not willing to accede to the demands or even listen to the demands of these striking doctors. Instead, you are now turning around and blaming the joint family system.
Definitely. Yes, of course. Of course, the disintegration of the joint family system is responsible.
And
I stick to it again.
I'm sorry, please stay on point.
Let this be recorded all over India.
I request you, Suranjan Das Gupta, to stay on point. We are discussing something far more important over here.
Because we are bearing each other's hazard.
We are discussing a life and death issue over here, Suranjan Das Gupta. Will you please stay on point and not try to divert it?
Yes.
Or are you showing us how seriously your government takes the issue? That when we are talking about doctor strike, when we are talking about hospitals being shut down, not functioning for 4 days, you instead would rather talk about the joint family being wiped out?
And even at the headquarters at NRS. Pardon?
I'm saying that when we are asking, right, I'll ask you, I'll repeat it for you again. I'm saying that here we are, all of us, trying to have a discussion and trying to find a solution over here to the fact that doctors are on strike, to the fact that doctors are getting beaten up, to the fact that hospitals have shut down for 4 days. You would rather speak of the joint family system? Is this how seriously you take this issue?
Of course, everything is interrelated. Don't try to, you see, as a lawyer, I'm sticking, don't try to divert the issue, madam. It's a question of everything is correlated. The value education is gone. If we have value education, no violence would have taken place.
You are diverting
some of the doctors, I'm not saying everyone.
Dr. Rajan Sharma, you are the president-elect of the IMA.
We will not.
One second. Let's get in the experts over here. Dr. Rajan Sharma, you're the president-elect of the IMA. One student doctor gets beaten up by relatives of a patient who's recently been declared dead. And then doctors go on strike. Is this because of the disintegration of the joint family system like Suranjan Das Gupta would have it?
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to ask that doctor who got injured was not even the treating doctor. Second, voice chali gayi yaar.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you, Dr. Sharma. Dr. Sharma, sunai de rahi hai. Bataiye.
Yeah. The point is, the point raised by my senior colleague, Dr. Nagral and Mr. Das Gupta. Please ask the same question and give this logic to the doctor who has got injured. Secondly, regarding IMA being heckled, I was there with my HSG in Calcutta. We were welcomed by the junior doctors. They were a bunch of scared youngsters about their security. And all they needed were a handling with a kid glove and a gentle love and affection. It has turned out to be such a major problem. When we were coming out of the premises, within half an hour, they were under attack again. They were beaten up.
Right.
They were so scared of their security that in the night they were manning the gates.
Dr. Sharma, I'm running out of time. Let's go back to Suranjan Das Gupta one last time. Suranjan Das Gupta, we have a CM, Chief Minister over here, who has no response to doctors who have been striking for 4 days. We have a Chief Minister who is not willing to take the phone call of the governor of the state. Is this how seriously the state takes this crisis?
First question I should the first question, as you said, that she didn't take it seriously, as you said. Like as I told you, I was looking at the entire press conference, what she has given the press statement to ABP Anando. If you look at it entirety,
Suranjan Das Gupta, I do not want to analyze the press statement. I've heard it myself and I understand Bangla. Let me tell you that. Now the other thing, tell me this. If the state was so serious about this, if the state was so serious, we are talking about ground reality. There were policemen who were standing by watching this boy being beaten. What action has the government taken against these policemen?
In fact, against this policeman, you mean to say? The outsiders, you say?
They were policemen. They were not outsiders. They were policemen in uniform on duty in the hospital who stood and watched as this boy was beaten.
Yes.
There is a police post in the hospital. There is a police post in the hospital.
What were they doing?
The Home Minister, who is also the Chief Minister, the Chief Minister happens to be the Home Minister, She has categorically stated all the culprits will be booked and severe punishment will be inflicted even if the top cop is involved.
Suranjan Dasgupta, have they been booked? The last I checked,
the top cop is also involved.
The last time I checked, Suranjan Dasgupta, the family members have been booked. The policemen have not been booked. They are still on duty.
Till now, no.
Why?
Till now, no. Till now, it's not been done. Investigation.
Right. I'm sorry, Suranjan Dasgupta, I'm completely out of time. I'm completely out of time. Let me tell you this. It's been 4 days since that incident. Those policemen were not doing their duty. Their duty was to maintain law and order. When a mob ran amok, when a doctor was beaten up, they should have intervened. They did not. They are still free. They have still not been booked. They are still on duty. That was the first thing your government should have done if they took this matter seriously enough. Second, those doctors have been sitting outside for the last 4 days, not going to work. Doctors across the state, 550 doctors have resigned. The Union Minister for Health, the court, and now the governor have been trying to get in touch with the chief minister. Doctors across the country are planning to go on strike, but your chief minister does not have an answer, and you're telling us you're taking it seriously. You're telling us you need a week. Let me tell you this, that 3-day-old baby who died did not have a week. That baby died when the baby was just 3 days old. That doctor who's beaten up, I beg, I bet, I implore you, go and tell him this. Tell him to wait for a week. That boy is probably looking at the state of his career. He's probably wondering whether he will be able to do what he set out to do in the first place, what he dreamt of doing in the first place. Do you have an answer for that? Your government does not have an answer for that. Do you have an answer for the patients who are being turned away? You do not have an answer for the patients who are being turned away. The fact is, you've mismanaged this entire problem, and the whole country is paying for that. Thank you for watching.